Welcome to Anti-Woke and Autistic. A few days ago, Alan Roberts posted a reaction video to Bethany, also known as BL Netzer on TikTok, because of her food pantry hauls. Well, Bethany appears to be striking back at Alan Roberts. Listen to this.
So the fat phobes have found my pantry videos.
So she says the fat phobe has found my food pantry videos. She's speaking in the singular, fat phobe has. So she's obviously referring to Ellen Roberts. However, a lot of people are anti-FA, so I'm sure she's thinking about all the other comments and all the other people out there who feel the same way, but she seems to be zeroing in on his very excellent video. When I was watching his video, I kept thinking to myself, I hope this woman finds this video. I hope she finds out. I hope she sees it and views it because this video should convince her once and for all how greedy she is and how she's over consuming and she's bragging, she's boasting about her ability to buy and overconsume so much food while 190 million, I think it is. No, it's 600, something like 690 million people worldwide are starving. They're living in famished countries, developing countries. Here she is essentially mocking them. Listen to what she has to say.
And of course, it should come as a surprise to no one that pretty much every comment is along the lines of, "You're fat enough, you don't need any more food." To which I would like to remind everyone.
You see how she twists the words around? She says, "You're fat enough, you don't need any more food." No, you don't need any more overconsumption of food. See how she twists things?
That fat people are not like bears. Like, I know that like Fat Bear Week was last week with the national parks, but like fat humans are not like bears. We don't store fat to like use as food. We still have to eat. We deserve to eat.
Yes, you still have to eat. All life forms, all animals have to eat. But you see how she's twisting things again. She's leaving out an essential descriptor, overeat. You don't have to overeat. You don't have to eat 6 or 7,000 calories a day. You don't have to eat such big quantities of food. You don't have to be spending $150 on a food bill. You go to food pantry supposedly to save money, but you end up buying so much food, you eat enough for 3 or 4 people. You're not saving money, and at the same time, you're damaging your health. So, yes, all people, all fat people, people of all sizes and shapes have to eat simply because we're life forms. But that doesn't mean you have to eat enough for 3 people.
Regardless of the size of our body. Of course, they would have to view us as human.
You don't deserve to stuff yourself. You need to eat to live, but you don't need, and I sound like a broken record, but she has to hear this stuff over and over and over if it's ever going to get through to her. You don't have to eat for 3 people. She's not even denying that. Yes, you gotta eat, but you don't have to eat like an elephant. You don't have to eat like a bear. You even said yourself, humans aren't bears. Why are you eating as much as a bear? Can you answer that? You're talking about how humans aren't bears. You're eating as much as a bear. You're gonna look like a bear in 5 or 10 years. The only people who gotta eat as much as you do, as far as calories, are professional athletes or competitive athletes like Michael Phelps, the swimmer who supposedly was eating 8,000 calories a day. But certain types of athletes, I mean, they gotta eat a lot, like power lifters, runners, track and field athletes, basketball players, football players. They just have to eat a lot, but they burn it off. They require the energy. They need the energy. What do you do every day what does this woman do every day that she needs 6 or 7,000 calories a day? And don't tell me she doesn't eat that much. How do I know she eats that much? Because I can see it. These things here are telling me she eats enough for at least 3 people. She's chowing down at least 5,000 calories a day, 5 or 6 or 7,000. And based on her looks, she does not look like a competitive athlete. She does not look like a power lifter. Now, I know some power lifters don't exactly look like they're physically fit and everything because they're carrying a lot of excess weight, but it's a pretty safe bet. This woman is not a competitive power lifter or some kind of weightlifter like that. Just looking at her body, there's very low muscle tone. It doesn't look like she does any structure, true, real exercise. It looks like she does only what's necessary to get around from day to day, like walking around, like whatever walking she does at food pantry, carrying the groceries to her car. Actually, she's pushing a car. I'm sure she's not carrying them. Maybe she walks up and down stairs in her house just to transport herself, vacuums, dusts, whatever, laundry, stuff like that. And then the rest of the time she's sitting on her can. This is not a woman who needs to eat as much as she eats. And don't tell me, well, how do you know she eats that much? Watch one of her food pantry hauls and you can see it in her eyes, you can see it in her face, you can hear it in her voice, the way she looks at the packages of food. This woman over consumes.
Still get food from the pantry because I gotta eat. So deal with it.
All right, so she gets real snarky at the end. If anybody's going to have to deal with something sooner or later, it's Bethany. She's going to have to deal with the consequences, the health and medical consequences of obesity. The typical scenario is that if somebody's obese and they're not trying to remedy that problem, they will get fatter and fatter as they get older. It's like a vicious cycle. The obesity slows them down, makes them increasingly inactive, and the increased inactivity, the increased sedentary lifestyle makes them eat more and they burn fewer calories because they're becoming more and more inactive, and so they gain more weight. So it's very realistic to conclude that 5 years from now, she's going to be heavier. 10 years from now, she's going to be heavier. And as she gets heavier and older, she's not exactly 22 years old here. She looks like she could be, I don't know, maybe in her early 30s. But as she gets older, her obesity is not only going to get more so, it's going to be increasingly relevant. It's going to affect her mobility. If she already doesn't have health problems, she probably already does have a need for medications. Maybe she's pre-diabetic. I don't know what's going on. And if her blood work's normal right now, so what? Blood work tells you nothing about the risk for osteoarthritis, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, kidney problems, heart failure, increased risk of blood clots, increased risk of stroke, increased risk of some cancers, and of course, the most obvious of all, which is lack of stamina, difficulty moving around, difficulty getting up from the floor, getting up from the ground, difficulty running if you have to run very fast suddenly, struggling to get in and out of cars, struggling to just get through a hectic day without feeling like you've been ambushed. It's going to become increasingly relevant as she gets older. Doctor appointments, medications, maybe heart surgery. I mean, she's getting by now on being relatively young, but she is going to have something to deal with. She's the one who's going to have something to deal with. Don't talk about us. You, Bethany, are the one who's going to have something to deal with if you keep eating like an elephant, or actually, I should say, eating like a bear. And you store it like a bear too. Anyways, that's it for this video. Have a great day.